The Chicago Bears have made a quarterback move. No, it wasn't the one that we were highly wanting to happen. It wasn't one that we were anticipating. It wasn't one that we wanted to see coming. The Chicago Bears have signed Andy Dalton. Yo, what's up, world? APW Sports signing in. Before I get into my thoughts on the Bears signing Andy Dalton, make sure you guys are staying safe. Also, click the like button. That helps this channel to grow a lot. And if you are a first-time viewer and you enjoy football content, go right ahead and click that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you will not miss a single video. But let's talk about the Bears signing Andy Dalton. Without further ado, let's dive into it.
I'm striving to get rich. That's why I almost went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
The Bears have made a quarterback move, signing Andy Dalton to a 1-year, $10 million deal, which can turn into a $13 million deal based on incentives. The Bears were aggressively pursuing Russell Wilson, but were told by the Seattle Seahawks that there were no plans to trade Russell Wilson at this time, which turned the Bears' attention to the free agency market, which led them to sign Andy Dalton. Now, from a Bears fan perspective, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. This move does not move the needle at all. Matter of fact, this has a lot of Bear fans, including myself, very heated at this point because the Bears fell at the quarterback position again. We were not able to acquire Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson, for some reason, he did not have us on his list, and the Bears failed to make a move in that direction. And it feels like to me, Andy Dalton was basically a settled move. Now, this still leaves a lot up in the air at the quarterback position because you have Andy Dalton along with Nick Foles. Let's just face it, neither one of those guys are going to get the job done, especially when the Bears are in a make or break year where everything has to work. When you sign Andy Dalton, I don't feel like the Bears, number one, were going to pull off a trade for Deshaun Watson anyway. Russell Wilson trade was going to be complicated, especially when Seattle didn't have plans to trade him, and Russell Wilson himself did not want to be traded if things went the right way in Seattle. So when you look at the Chicago Bears quarterback situation, there were very few options in free agency. Cam Newton signed back with the New England Patriots. You had Jameis Winston, who signed back with the New Orleans Saints. That really limited the Bears' options to Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton. You had Jacoby Brissett on the market. And let's just face it, there's not a lot of options for the Chicago Bears to go in the quarterback position when it turns to free agency. And then on top of that, Ryan Fitzpatrick ended up signing with the Washington football team. So the Bears' options through free agency were limited. A trade could have happened, but at this point right now, it's not looking like the Bears are going to be able to trade for a top-notch quarterback. And a top-notch quarterback, I really feel would have saved Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace's jobs. Now they turn to a position where they're going to probably have to look towards the draft. And honestly, as much as I love a lot of the quarterback class in this draft, I don't think it was the right direction for the Chicago Bears to go. And I'll explain. The Chicago Bears right now sit themselves in a make or break season where they have to be better than 8-8. They have to be competitive. They have to be a whole lot better on offense, especially when you're finished 29th and you finished 22nd in the last 2 years, respectively. Things must go up. Now, when you look at the signing of Andy Dalton, sure, Andy Dalton is serviceable. Sure, Andy Dalton does bring value. But when you're talking about a team that A, has to capitalize on the defensive side of the ball's prime, B, you have a head coach and you have a general manager who are basically on 1-year leashes and 1-year deals to get everything right, especially at the quarterback position, which the Bears have struggled, let's just face it, for the majority of their franchise's history. So when you look at the draft now, it would be great to get one of those guys, maybe a Justin Fields, depending on what the Jets do, or a Trey Lance, or a Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. But when you really think about the position the Bears are in right now, they had to get a trade done. They had to get a top-tier quarterback in that locker room. Because now when you think about it, the Bears, honestly, they are not in a position to develop a quarterback, especially with everybody wanting to win now. Because when you think about it, a lot of the same things happened with Mitch Trubisky. When you sign Mike Glennon to that big-time deal, you don't get a guy in there that can be a mentor. You don't get a guy in there that can, A, have some service. You have a guy in Mike Glennon that he has to start right now. Even though I think signing Andy Dalton is a little bit different, as if Andy Dalton can be a good in a backup role. But when you look towards the draft and developing a quarterback, over the Bears' tenure as a franchise, they have majorly failed to develop quarterbacks, whether it would be from a guy like Rex Grossman, whether it would be from Mitch, whether it would be from maybe a Kyle Orton, Jim McMahon to a certain extent. The Bears historically have failed at developing quarterbacks. And when the Bears are in a position now on one-year leashes, I don't think they will have, number one, the patience, and I don't think they will have, number two, the time to develop a quarterback. So when you look at the signing of Andy Dalton, I don't think it's the greatest move. As much as I am genuinely frustrated that the Bears were not able to get Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson deal done, the Andy Dalton move makes a ton of sense, especially if you're going to go towards the route of having to draft a quarterback. But if Andy Dalton is your starter week one, let's just be 100% honest. The Bears can pretty much cancel the season. We're not going to be much better, if better at all, than 8-8. So when you really think about this Chicago Bears quarterback situation, Andy Dalton, you can see a move like that working. But as the Bears franchise stand right now, it was to the umpteenth degree, they had to move aggressively to get a top-notch quarterback in there to capitalize on the defensive side of the ball's prime, especially with the defense getting their contracts reworked to have more cap room. And then you have to throw on top of that, what is this move going to mean with Allen Robinson, especially that he's not going to be able to play with a top-tier quarterback. He hasn't played with one pretty much his entire career. And now you're probably going to have to go the route towards a draft to get a rookie. And you have Andy Dalton, who has not had really those great seasons like he had early in his career. So when you look at the Chicago Bears right now, Andy Dalton solves a small problem, but there's still a lot of questions to answer with the Chicago Bears football team in this free agent period. But the Bears signed Andy Dalton to a one-year deal. I think he's in here to be a backup. It's still up in the air what they're going to do with Nick Foles. So when you think about it, there's still a lot of questions up in the air for the Chicago Bears going forward. But that is all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys leave this video a like. That helps the channel to grow. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below of what you think about the Chicago Bears signing of Andy Dalton. And if you have gotten to this point in the video, make sure you click that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you would not miss a single video that I post. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.